country growing fast, creating opportunities built to last. Medicinal herbs and business too. Education changing how we view. Greenhouse farming changing the game. Hydroponics helping the grain. Fishery, livestock, fruit tree line. Agriculture make the island shine. Support local every chance they get. Farmer working hard, don't forget. No nation strong if the people can't eat. Local food keep the country complete. Agriculture, where food security is everybody business.
Yes, greetings and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show on Real Entertainment Network. Greatly appreciate you guys can stay with us this evening. I'm your host Bankie and my other co-host Yahsonn Tafari. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in another Friday evening, as I said, and let me say good evening to the folks here in Oli and Layamiga, which is indigenous name for Nevis and St. Kitts. Greatly appreciate that the folks over in the neighboring islands, Sabre, Statia, St. Barts, and the other neighboring island, the U.S. Virgin Islands and the BVI, not forgetting the folks over in Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, also the folks in the diaspora, North America, from the Florida Keys all the way over to Texas, Chicago, Jersey, New York, Atlanta, wherever you're at in the United States, and also the folks over in Canada and the folks over in Europe, from England, go over to Asia, Africa. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in with us on another Friday evening. This is a long weekend. We have a lot of stuff going on here in Nevis, the Masters tournament. You have people from throughout the neighboring islands, St. Martin up to St. Croix, St. Thomas, and then you still have the drag race. It's the Winfest weekend. You know, Monday is a holiday with Monday and the church having their harvest and Sundays and different stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of action, drag racing, Winfest. You have different music over there in Brickhill. You have those guys, Odyssey Band, having stuff by Jar Backyard, and then Squeeze Up by having something, and next thing they by Blowhaven, and next barbecue day for some fundraiser, and 869. So there's all kind of stuff going on this weekend. But the most important thing, have a designated driver. With all this party, they mean the number one thing when it comes to abuse in our system is alcohol, but it's not talked about. It is promoted, the drinking, when instead of cannabis, this evening we'll talk about cannabis, food security, and our guest should be Ras Iya, but he's running a little late, so Yahsonn and myself will continue the conversation. And remember, the line is open automatically if you have anything to talk about and stuff like that, but we'll get into some of the discussion. So let me say, Yahsonn, good evening to you.
Yes, global greetings, and it's, as usual, always a pleasure to be back here in another edition of Everything Agriculture. It's a beautiful Friday evening here in Queen City, Nevis, in the beautiful island of Oli. And today, as you mentioned, the cricketers for the past couple of days, I was involved with moving some of them around. Coming in, the airport in Nevis was very festive and active. We had a lot of flights coming in from St. Croix. Well, not a lot, but a couple of flights from St. Croix and Anguilla and Antigua and so on coming in. And it was nice to see, so many different people and meet so many different people and try to accommodate them and try to, in our little ambassadorial ways as taxi drivers, the first faces that they see when they come to the island, to give them that warm welcome and try to make their at least introduction to the island as smooth and as easy as possible. The drag racing as well. And my neck of the woods here, all evening I see the container trucks them coming down with the trailers, with the cars in the trailers, and hearing some, as we even speak right now, some of the guys over on the track testing and doing their little fine tuning and whatever is going on. So yes, it's definitely anticipating a big event this weekend here in Nevis. And so I'm just urging everybody to, be safe. All the drivers, I know you all are going to be in that kind of, mood. But um, please remember to drive, safely. And if you're going to consume alcohol, as Banky, would have alluded to, one of the more prominent drugs that is utilized in our society, but not, as you mentioned, talked about or highlighted in ways that it should be, but more so promoted. Um, Remember to have a designated driver so that we could, as much as possible, reduce, if possible, any accidents or incidents during that time. I want to say good evening to all of the folks who log on, usually via whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch TV. And I want to encourage all who are on board to subscribe, whether it's the YouTube platform or the Facebook platform or the Twitch platform. But we want to encourage you to go over to the YouTube platform, especially. We want to build our numbers over there. We're looking to at least get to 1,000 by July. Yes, we are targeting that. And so we want to encourage you to, go on over, subscribe to the platform, and let us know that you are not just listening, but you are interested in, staying in tune with us and helping to support us on the journey. Banky, it's a wonderful time, and I know that there are a number of things for us to discuss this evening. We should have a guest with us, Ras Iya, and most times we don't consider Ras Iya a guest. He is, by now, by the frequency of him being on the platform, we consider him, another co-host. So he would have apologized for his tardiness. He's, on the road, at this time, seeking to get, to his final destination. And when he does, he would, log in here with us on the platform. But in the meantime, we're going to get the show rolling because we have a number of things to do and to get through this evening. And so we also want to say a very special thanks to the technician team for Real Entertainment, the commitment. I mean, we can't definitely, you guys really wouldn't know, but because we know, we really want to let them know that we appreciate the work that they do behind the scenes and the patience and the effort and the commitment that is needed for us to be able to build this platform and bring this platform to where it is. So with that said, all of our housekeeping matters. Banky, I just want to get back over to you and let's get into our discussions and issues for this evening.
Well, this evening we're going to be touching food security to start off with until Ras Iya comes in. I know a week or so ago we did a program on the destruction of Indian castle and how it was before. It was one of the pioneered project that money was heavily invested and was one of the area that was used as the model for food security 2025 agenda. And in these times, as we can watch what's going on around the world, while the high prices of gas and stuff like that, right now gas is like 19.50 and almost $20 here in Nevis, and these days over $25. So it means the cost of living and everything gonna goes up. And to see that we are destroying food, and the people of Nevis and even the people of St. Kitts is sitting down, we are saying it is admiring what Nevis had, and now they're moving on their nature project down there. They had pepper and planting, want to plant a couple of hundred acres of fruit trees and coconut trees and stuff like that. We here in Nevis is allowing 40 acres of food, over 4,000 coconut trees, soursop, pomegranate, gooseberries, banana trees, avocados, shaddock. I mean, you had what was it, the next thing, like Burberry, some other type of citrus, over 600 citrus, Maya lemon, key lime, which is like West Indian lime. They have the next regular sour orange and sour orange, and all those different indigenous fruit, and the local coconuts, over 400 guavas, 400 sugar apple, lots of stuff. But to see how the place is at in this pay, and the minister live at Indian Castle, and the manager of that estate get something handed over to him in mint condition. The whole of agriculture sees that from the ministry, the whole of Navy saw that. And to see how the place is at this point where no one is held accountable. If you're managing a place and you're not showing up to work as steady on the job, well, how can that be management? As you'll hear the premier say, I sleep, I live on the job. He's not being, it could be humorous, but it's reality. I will be down there all this time there. You see what I mean? After 7, after 8, I still down there just chilling. It's a place to be where, I mean, when the sun goes down, you have, it get cooler because you're going behind the hill. So and then the sunrise early in the morning when in turning at rise, and that's because once you pass over bad area, the sun, and coming on that area, the sunrise very early, like after 5 in the morning, before 6, the sun and up. So, and then it's after 4, it don't goes down behind the hill. But when you go in the town area, it's still high in the air. So you have that experience. So it's just a different energy in the same motion. So it's something I enjoy. So it's just like, but my thing is also, and then the same person who is failing all these things, the premier still taking and traveling with him to St. Bart's, which means the premier accepting failure. That's why I tell you the premier is the minister of agriculture, not a deputy, Because if you already see somebody doing it wrong and you encourage these things, and then you're still going to come on your radio show and promote 4,000 coconut trees, 5,000 coconut trees, St. Bart's won all these things, and you know the man who next to you in St. Bart's will fail you. So I understand this mixed messages. Who fooling who? So this Monday, there was a situation down on the farm where, since we spoke about Indian cows, I guess the minister want to go down there, come in and go down there for. Because not even a miracle will happen within the next 6 months down there. You see what I mean? With the state of down there, so with all the drip line them ripped up, nothing is working down. The water is down there for close on 3 years going down since I've left. And you want to go down there now to say what? Because this is not the first or second video. There's been videos about the dogs who that was there at the time, and the ill treatment from the immigrants, the local immigrants, the white immigrants, we call them expatriates or whatever, but is immigrants, is really is, because when we out there, we call us immigrants, same. So that's what it is. There was noise about those things about that are up through. They'd have to go and get the all kind of craziness. So it's just been getting worse, and the people entertain it. So is what you're doing, not what you say and speak nice and take pictures and think I mean nothing. Because the reality is we're destroying food. The source up will be on the tree, but the source up, in this time, one source up getting will be bountiful. When the tree is getting care. So since the minister was supposed to go down there sometime, they seem to rented a vehicle from someone, and then have the next vehicle down there cleaning. But I guess then guys down there driving and driving around. So you all will see what happened. Because I understand there's a lot of meeting and building being dropped off, because I don't know why anybody has a call me and give me all this information, because the Department of Agriculture and the ministry, they do not have no trust in the minister. The minister making these people, he own his environment, laughing after him and a mockery. And now the deputy, the same one who is the manager of Indian Castle, who already told people is upset that Mr. Randy Elliott had meeting with this gentleman, Mr. Steve. You know, I don't tell he and Floyd, the deputy. He only answered to the minister. So when the situation happened here that I'm about to show this video, why Randy getting involved and taking it? Tell Steve, go to the minister and let the minister deal with the situation. Don't drag in Randy them now, when he is the one can have the place run right down to zero. I encourage the local Nigerian and Kittians to go down at Indian Castle and see the state of down there, because this video going to show what's happening down there and the devastation, how the trees them look. But I want to excuse that the video having some, how I must say, some, we call it bad words, some of the F words.
Expletives.
Explicit languages. All right. So excuse that, but we just have to show what's going, because you can't make up these things, All right. So let's go. Technician.
Do you fucking think, Super? Do you think, Super?
Look at the coconut trees in the back.
There's no more fucking
All
hobby.
right.
Why Super left us in a my bug buckler face, boy?
I don't want to laugh.
Super, if you want reference, come back, Super. What Super do, boy? Come in the Super. You hear the beast, boy? You hear the beast, boy? You hear the beast, boy? Fuck cool. It's me and Super working. What the fuck, Super?
You can't. People, you can't make up them things here.
That's something that happened recently.
Monday? What do you mean? Monday? it's big meeting in agriculture right now. When this happened Monday, of course. Yeah. Oh, you never see it?
No, I thought it was something that maybe happened a while now. I didn't realize it was something that
Yeah.
recent as there.
Yeah, Monday this week, the cleaning up and trying to put things in order and stuff to impress the minister. I mean, how you want to impress somebody when you don't got place done over 2.5 years in depletion. You want to just get it back because the minister come down there. We're going to come watch. Because if it's going to be the kind of nothing, the drip that cut up and everything now we're going to make them work all of a sudden and bring down and take all the water out of the sea and bring it on land and make everything start bloom again. Not so these things work, you know. So I really don't understand why we went these vehicles and look what happened now. Who's gonna pay to fix these vehicles? But I understand their checks bill don't come in and money. So somebody have to pay for that and people still working. There's no accountability. And you know, if you can't afraid the Minister of Agriculture, which and the Premier for what these are them causing this thing because them travel with the guy who failed empowering these people. Because he spoke about it on his radio show Wednesday that Mr. Reid went to St. Bart's and all these things, and he spoke about St. Bart's want mango and lettuce and this and that and that kind of thing. These things that he talked about is castle dying over 600 citrus trees done dead. Eh? So who the premier fool? Who he fool? The people in navies and people overseas who listen to him. Because these are the reality, you know. Because whenever I repeat, they cannot challenge what I'm saying is wrong because the evidence is there.
Bankie is not about challenge. The difficulty that I find sometimes
Yes, and
is
something I have to say challenge because nothing have come out of Indian Council since I've left. Not even a
no,
one
hold on,
obs.
Bankie. I understand what you're saying, but the point I was going to make just a while ago, right, is the fact that when you begin to say these things, because the island is so small and because there is this petty partisan politics division, sometimes when you begin to like address these issues, there are people who tend to want to label you or think that you're supporting their position. And right now, because
Yes,
election is
son.
in the
No, 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 no. You see, you're feeding on those energy, but me not feel because remember, you know, as I said, I'm the one who did the work, and when all the same people who you're worrying about was embracing and they benefited, so it's nothing to go down. You don't need to go down the road
hold on.
because those people
I
be in
am not
denial. Because
worried
remember,
about,
as I said, does it make no sense what you're saying?
hold on. I am not worried about anything. We are having
Well,
a
it seems so
program,
to me.
and while we're having the program, I am putting certain things into context as I make my statement as well, because I am saying this to
All
say
right.
as well.
Yes.
Sometimes, because of that little issue that I point out, that the facts and the issues sometimes are neglected because some people tend to want to think along that lines. The fact is, like we talk about, you just mentioned coconuts, and even the other day when I was listening to the premier talk about coconuts going and selling coconuts to St. Bart's and so forth. I mean, I am in the New River area, so I see the Indian Castle project that you're talking about, and I know of two other coconut walks that we have in the New River area that is facing a similar situation that you are having there in Indian Castle as well. So I'm pointing this out as well. That's why I put those things into context so that people could also, if you want to challenge Bankie, you can also visit the two walks at New River as well, because there's one just opposite where Gerard has his egg farm, and then there's the other
Yes,
one just down below where they had set up that thing just below Gator down there. That the one that we did the video at.
of course. The one to the back of the sugar estate. That's all you have to say.
Right, Coconut Walk Estate, yes. Um, that also is another coconut walk that is under the government's supervision. And so, talking about
What you see, what you're seeing there is a second set of coconut trees being planted. What was there had died, eh? So let me let you know that what you don't know. That's our next set that planted.
so you
So
hear
you don't
that.
even know
So
that.
so this is the challenge that I have. And as you mentioned, so as you tried to mention a while ago, not try, because you mentioned it. Um, who is really being deceived or attempting to deceive? They're trying to attempt to deceive by trying to paint those kinds of nice stories. Oh, they want these things and so on. But you are in a position where, at this point, had you paid attention to what you already have in terms of the 3 coconut walks that we're talking about, you, Bankie, would have planted coconuts on your farm after those were planted at Indian Castle and after those that were planted on the 2 walks that we're talking about. And you, I have seen a couple of weeks and months, I don't know if you're still doing it on a daily basis, but you have been selling coconuts. You had a coconut stall at your place selling coconuts
Yeah,
from your
I have jelly water in the shop. Not because I'm not outside selling it. That doesn't mean I have jelly water inside in the fridge. So you can come in and get your jelly water. But remember, I have jelly tree home in my yard when me pick off, you know, and other
Okay, so
places. So
no,
I got jelly
no,
tree
but
over at the farm.
the point I'm making though, Bankie, is if they were and are serious like you are, then the coconut walks that they're talking about, you're doing it and you're trying to at least maintain the local market. Because here's the other point again that I
Yes,
think that I think is missing as well. There is a high demand for coconut here and Nevis, coconut water here and Nevis, and we are nowhere close to that demand. Most of the coconut water
yes.
that we do have here are imported either
Imported.
from Dominica or St. Vincent.
Yes,
So, but
yes,
these are some of the realities that we are not necessarily looking at, and this is why sometimes we as a people have to take the time out to listen and listen to everybody. Because I'm a kind of person, Bankie, I don't just listen to any side. I listen to all of the talk shows them because I like to be
yes.
informed. I like when I have an opinion or I'm going to speak on something, I could have a couple of different views and then come to my conclusion. Or if I have to go and do some research for myself, I would take the time out and go and do the research for myself. And so this is I mean and everybody would know Bankie when it comes to me and you. We are farming is like our first name, last name, middle name. So when we talk about agriculture and issues surrounding agriculture, it's not just because we want to talk or we're trying to, we are just really just putting some of the facts on the table. And so that is an issue in terms of the coconut water and in terms of if we're really serious about agriculture because we have a high demand. I think we're close to meeting our demand. So if you're gonna talk about export, you first have to at least try to meet your demand. And where we are with what we are seeing right now is nowhere close. We showed the video. Then I think there is another video that we would want to present. So I don't know if you wanna get to that, Bankie.
The one how it is was how it is
It
now.
was before.
Technician,
It was
which video you have up
how
there?
it is now.
One before, some pictures before, show picture before, and then one how it is it now. If the technician is there.
But in the meantime,
But
just want to say good evening to all the folks who are logged in. Want to encourage folks to, go on over to the YouTube platform, click on the notification bell, subscribe, like, and share. Um, with everybody, we're working on improving or increasing our YouTube um, followers. In the meantime, some of the comments, Malcolm Atherton says, food security is more critical now, more than ever. Increasing international stability and friendly US government policies, etc. It would be a good time to create a seed bank for people willing to grow some of their own food. Most probably won't, but it might be worth exploring. Well, I don't know if this brother Bankie have been listening to me over the years, because this is one of the cries that I have been, putting out. And apart from some of these issues that he highlighted in his comment, part of the basis of my argument for that was more on the fact that a lot of the seeds are being genetically modified, and modified to the point where what you plant, you're not getting back exactly what you plant. So you have to go back to those who are selling the seeds in order to be able to continue your production. That is one part of it as well. But the other part to that is some of the pollens and how the genetics of those plants are, they are so powerful that if you are growing the regular or the heirloom strain, and that is supposed to cross with it, then it destroys the original strain. And so there's a lot of things that we have to pay attention to. So a seed bank, like the brother is pointing out, is something that, yes, I think we definitely need to consider it. And all of us, as much as possible, the seeds that we make use of, if we can secure them and replant them as much as possible, that would be best. Lauret Wharton says, good evening all. Aaron Otto Heiliger says, greetings. That is all for the Facebook platform. On the YouTube side of things, let's see what's going on the YouTube side of things. On the YouTube side of things, we have Oliver Liebert. Oliver Liebert saying, hi, good night, Kings. Just
Yes, good night.
Enough respect, Oliver and Bankie. It's just the other day, I paid a little closer attention to the logo or
The bottle, the honey.
bottle that I didn't realize that he was responsible for the honey. So Oliver, enough respect, my brethren.
But told you that.
No,
give you the man. We made you're funny.
Oliver, but hold on, I didn't know it was Oliver Liebert until I see the person commenting all the time, but I didn't realize the person commenting was the same person
But
we
tell
got
the
the honey from.
but tell the man on the show.
No, I didn't realize that. So maybe you told me, but it didn't click. Somebody
And
tell
you
you
still got
something.
me back of honey and the man on this. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, man. So it's just the other day looking at it and I said, so enough respect, Oliver. I mean, yes, man.
Yes,
and give thanks. Again, now I get to tell you personally. I've met you, but yes, man, I've been utilizing it and it's pretty good. So we want to encourage folks to look out for Ali, pure honey. Ever this bit saying, so was that drag race an accident on the Indian Castle Orchard? If so, are the drivers government workers or other people fooling around?
Government workers. What do you mean? Government workers. That's what they work down there. They was cleaning up the place for when the minister come down. I know now clean up. I really don't know.
Okay, Oliver Labert says big up, bro. Yeah, man, enough respect, man. I mean, yeah, good vibes, and feel free to jot your number in the chat here so that the folks are
Watch
interested.
you got us getting little cardi producer say he need make sure you get honey too.
Okay, so Oliver,
so
Oliver,
the producer in the back me got show make sure you get honey.
The producer say he need his honey too, so we gotta get that work out. We're gonna get that work out, producer. We're gonna get it worked out. In the meantime, folks, the
technician will let us know when you're ready.
Yeah, no problem. You can organize. Oliver is gonna put his number in the chat, and if you're interested in getting, your honey, Oliver, put your number in the chat so that folks can reach you. Oliver Liebert. So if you look in the chat and you see this person named Oliver Liebert, 100% pure honey, and he has it on stock. Talking about that, Bankie, just the other day I was considering having, investing in a box for myself, because I recognize I have a good bit of bees around me. And um, yeah, it's not something that I, I'm right now at a kind of level where I'm very open minded in terms of trying new things, especially in the field of agriculture. So, yeah, I'm throwing it out there. I'm going to be trying to invest in at least start with one box and, see how it works out and work from there. Evan Nisbet says, oh, wow. Okay, over on the other side, Malcolm says, agreed, Yahsonn, choosing non-GMO seeds is important. You don't need any Frankenstein plants in Davis. Definitely not, because you are what you eat, and these are things that we have to be serious about. And this is why when I listen to Bankie, in relation to the work that Bankie did in terms of the Indian Castle Orchard, I listened to Bankie calling out some trees that he planted. And when you really think of, nutritional value, food security, and, staying grounded with the food that you eat, because I could recall when we used to do the show with Dr. McWilliams for Jade, he mentioned one of the things that is very vital is that because of how our structure is and how our DNA is, and the microbes that are in our bodies, it's more structured to the soil that
Yes.
we grow in and
You adapt
our
to your
live
environment.
that we grow in.
You,
And so it is
you adapt to your
always
environment.
to be eating the foods grown from the soil that you are living on. And so
Yes.
saying that, I say that to say that those shaddock trees and those soursop and sugar apple and all of those fruits, had they taken more care of those trees, and look at where we are now, 2026. I mean, this is the season when a lot of these fruits would have been in, and you would have always had something to harvest from over there, because some
Remember,
of these
a lot.
and seeds.
Remember some of the trees. A lot of the trees are still with a lot dead. Can remember we're planting large. Or planted by the house. I was not planting 10 or nothing. Or we're planting that you can supply. So a lot gonna die out, but a lot gonna still survive. But which you don't want nothing to die. You not plant for things to dead. Because
Right.
I left them there. The key is not to let things die and then now they plant them. So the purpose, the point is, the plant them is existing on their own. So you really don't need nobody today. Can you just to babysit the plants and them? You see what I'm talking about? So ain't no need for a staff to be there getting paid. Cause they're not getting water, they're not getting food, they're not getting nothing. But just surviving on their own within nature itself by the adaptation. What die, what can't survive. The plant is just surviving on their own. That's
Okay,
just
Banky,
what's the
I
purpose
think
of having. Yes. Are you ready?
I think I see a little signal to let me know that the
Okay,
technician
good.
is ready. So yes, we will now take a little bit from our technician behind the scenes and provide some pictures and videos of before and after where Indian Castle is concerned.
Now tell me, look at the condition of these trees here. So this is how it is now. Where you see how the place there, the place so dry the place is. No water. The fence now walk. Trees, those trees supposed to don't have should have had on coconut jelly already, but they're just dying. They're stunted.
It's a shame. It's a real shame. The whole cabinet, the whole Department of Agriculture Ministry responsible for this. This is a food bank.
So Banky, how old those trees are supposed to be?
And see what I got it?
Remember, the project started in 20.
Over on the side, which part you have? A shade.
2021
Now walk.
after Easter.
See me hand there? You're supposed to get
Yeah.
shot. See ya?
So you understand the timing. So if December gonna make tree since if I left in 2023 December, and when I left there, the trees were already fruiting. So it shows the neglect. So you should have had 100% fruiting on all those coconut trees down there. All 4,000-5,000 should have had Angeli. You know reason why none should not have had Angeli. Because me ain't been at KSB for 2 years yet. and I gonna get jelly, gonna start short and my cheese them before, you understand, September, October. You're gonna get cheese short jelly. Because jelly cheese supposed to start fruiting within 18 months. Once you're taking care of them proper management. And jelly cheese staff had already started fruiting in Indian cats within 16 months. And all of the cheese planted smaller than your baby finger. And each of us had you just basically pop out. And remember, I still had sent over 1,000 jelly cheese to sink it, say? Those that was over 12 inches, where the young lady Shana Jeffers has taken care of them under and Collins, and then let the and Mr. Collins let the them there steady and dead. Whoever give us some to, give us some to. But they have to distribute some to the farmers and within the community, and then they planted at least 500. Because at the same time, Alexis was the minister in the federal government. So that's what it was all about. Yes.
Well, I see you just a while ago touching the wires and the archer there that's supposed to be the electric fence for the monkeys. And the fact that you're touching them like that means that they are not hot at this point. That means they're not working. So which means whatever fruits are down there right now presently are not protected either. So whatever it is that may be going down there right now are very much
Yes, and
open
nobody
to
need to be there. Nobody need to be there on the compound. That's just
no,
all. It's
no,
as simple as it is.
hold on, man, talking about the people. Here's what I'm saying. Whatever fruits that might be on the tree right now, the fact that you were able to touch the electric fence with your hands, because I saw you in the video hold it. So I'm saying it means that you said that a lot of the trees have died and are dying. But whatever is there right now, some sort of fruits may be growing on them. But I'm saying if
The
those
tree, of
wires
course.
are not, if the monkey fence is not working, then it means that whatever fruits are there are left open to the monkeys right now because
But the
there's no
foods them don't
protection
come
for them.
nothing. The foods that is on the trees and them, as the source up on them, they just gonna drop off. Cause they're not gonna water. The gooseberries them that is on the tree don't just fall off. The trees they're gonna try their best, but they're not getting the water source that is there. They want small fruits and they'll just drop off and stuff like that. The tree gotta survive. The tree is just normal. They're gonna get into survival mode. The tree wiser than us in a virgin. So we think we're smarter than the tree. And how the tree is who keeping us alive, And we don't realize that. That's how stupid we are. You see, the trees are keeping us alive, giving us oxygen to breathe, breathing out carbon dioxide, and trees keeping us alive. And we love to the tree. That's how wise we think we are, but we are really dumb, dumb beings in a sense, because something you need for your fuel, you're destroying it. That's all we eating for energy, That is our fuel. But we'll show some clips, a few videos of some of the food that came out of the Indian castle. When it comes to agriculture open there, when you hear Minister Brown spoke about all this stuff come out of down there. This was agriculture open at over 10,000 pounds of water when it came out of Indian. All those soil and bag in the bag there come out of Indian castle and all the watermelon you see there. Chocolate. All right? And within and all the melons slap within an hour. And to go back down Indian castle from a watermelon. And those watermelon, there was no time in history where no kind of production ever come out of no agriculture estate. For no agriculture opening for all the 30 years they said never got up to now. Indian castle have said the president. None. The most when they sell and they get for 2 days is 2,500 pounds. That's for 2 days. And Indian castle always come out on top from since under my watch. It's easy. It just to show you it seems like we promote failures or we embrace failures. I don't want production. It's just a sham. The evidence is there. You see what I mean? So how can the minister want us to know he want to go down there to see when he live in Indian Castle? Minister Jeffers live over a Butlers, and when I was on, he come down there almost 3-4 times a week. That's when someone have interest. Eric don't love agriculture, and that's just the reality. Because you put someone who have no interest, because who you put there had nothing good to say about the project, and now the minister still the premier flying up and down with the same person who failed in your castle. You can't make up the things a virgin. Yes, and if me fail the same source that you talk about, advertise for St. Bart, me fail it, but you still travel with me up and down to the same place that want the jelly and want all this house up and all these things. Me got them dead. But you carry me on a tour on a charter plane and down there talking about mango and this other kind of nonsense. And over 75 Emmy mango tree was planted at Indian Castle. He got less than 35 down there right now. and you have some of them a throat flour, which in all should have been a fruit. So when you talk about all them things there, they still long there. You got mango down there, a flower. Over 75 were planted. The film them know there was there, the whole the pictures there with the premier, the whole cabinet, the legal team, everything now, walking through Union Castle, Spencer Brand, all of them, the evidence is there with Michael Lynn, the former Chinese ambassador. The evidence is there with all of them. That's the beauty about things. You Google Indian Castle with Michael Lynn and the delegation from it'll come up. It'll just come up. It can't hide. With all the pictures, then they walk and they want all the pictures. That's the beauty about it. But you'll not find a picture. Virgin is just a game. You can't play game with food. So there's no accountability. So now you see it's turning to job racing and the workers still working. Yes, and these at the end of the day, okay, as you see our life going, we're gonna end up in a cashless system, and our matters at the end of the day is food. Food.
And I'm
Remember,
glad.
I've started enough meetings, I have started enough meeting and I've been trained well by the government. So, because I wasn't trained well. So when I speak with authenticity because that is the reality. You understand? Because I know exactly what I'm saying. I'm authentic. You can't say I'm not authentic. I understand the work. I've sit there, send me all over the place to train. So I know the work and I know the mentality. A lot of people goes on this trip just to say they went on a trip, but they don't come back and pass on the information. It's just a trip. It's just a vacation. They put money in the pocket or whatever. But they don't. It ain't no workshop being done. So when you see, that's why you see most of them just stay in the year, just always going on a trip. But where it is time we're passing on the thing to farmers and all this different stuff like that. It's not just going on a plane and then come back. Oh, you went Israel, you went this place, you went that place. But how does what you learn is transferred back to the farmers and the community, not tangible. So it's just sending their friends on a trip, waste of taxpayers' time. But yes, son, if you're going to be talking about food security, you must have banana plant, you must have cassava plant, plantain, tanya. You must have this food because this food is what going to be used to, apart from breadfruit, in making flour. And once you got flour, you can bake bread, you can do all kind of different stuff like that. Because that porridge, because that is the key. You can process them into flour, and that is it. But before I continue, I had some visit this afternoon on my farm. Got to big up Akisha over there where she doing she farming by the MUA. She made cado. So if you're looking, I'm not sure how much but she been harvesting some yellow watermelon and stuff like that. So today she dropped by to say she's gonna bring me one. So I greatly appreciate that. Usually once the harvesting done, she buy the Japan house. So big up Akisha and Kado. But she brought a little youth with her. So when a big up, so I say, so when the youth come, you say, start talking to me, calling me, Bankie. I say, wait, you know me? You say, yeah. You know, on the TV and this show, we say, on this show? We say, what show? So yeah, you don't talk about the show. Me say, what is this? Yeah, man, you got a big up young lion, Kado. You know what I mean, watching me and this show. So when you see, and he's in preschool, and the man know me to a tear was blown away. Yeah, he had me going. Yeah, man, bright little you understand? Very brilliant. So, young lion canoe, big up yourself. You don't know, big up yourself, big up yourself. Future looking bright for the youth. You know what I'm saying? So, they're gonna be our young scientists and stuff like that. So, yeah, he in the right environment between his mom and dad and his grandmother and stuff like that. So, again, preschool children recognizing me as a blow my mind. The man recognized me like he know me. I didn't expect that. It just blew my mind. So it was a good day.
By Banky, the youths are the future. And as you speak about youths, I spend most of my day today with youths because I had a tour with some children from Tyrrell Williams Primary School and St. Kitts. They came over for today. And, I was able to take them around and share with them a little bit of our story and a lot of the stories from our perspective as well. Um, and get them to have a better understanding of some of the things that you know you know took place and get them to open their eyes a little bit and really question and think. And we need a lot more of this. And I want to thank the teachers who would have, organized such an activity, because as a past teacher myself, I know, a lot of the logistics that goes into doing something like that. And I know what it means for children getting experiences like that, to come to their sister island and vice versa. Because when I used to teach, it was a
Yes,
pleasure for
son.
me to say,
You,
yes,
you,
sir.
you want me to take a break? You want me to take a break and come back in until
Are
I
you
set up?
yourself? Okay, yeah, I think maybe we can
Yeah,
do that.
technician, we could take a break.
When
Yeah,
comfort,
we can do
class, and reliability matter,
yeah.
choose the ride that delivers more. Imperial Rides Transportation Services, where every journey is treated like royalty. From airport transfers, private events, shopping trips, island tours, and executive travel, Imperial Rides moves you in style, clean, comfortable, on time, every time. Book your premium taxi or tour service today. Call or WhatsApp 869-665-8459 or email elandflavas@gmail.com. Imperial Rides Transportation Services. Your journey, our priority.
At Shabazz Organics, we believe real people deserve real food. So we're bringing you to Mansa's Last Stop, a farm where food barriers are removed and legacy is sustained. We believe there's power in picking, so we allow you to decide what leaves the farm and enters your kitchen organically.
Beat the summer heat. Come and get your carambola, star fruit, make very nice drink. You can come pick them yourself. All the trees them full of vitamin C, antioxidant, build up your immune system. Monster Last Stop. A whole shopping bag for only $10. Half a shopping bag you pay $5. If you get $2, you must get some. Come get your carambola. Don't want to go to waste. Let's go, people.
Check Shabazz Organics if you want delicious mangoes.
Mangoes all day sounds like a plan for me.
Oh, everybody, let me leave this mango, them let me know what you're doing to me.
Check Shabazz Organics if you want delicious mangoes.
Mangoes all day sounds like a plan for me.
Oh, everybody, let me leave this mango, them let me know what you're doing to me. Sweet everybody, oh, everybody.
Check Shabazz Organics if you want delicious mangoes. Check Shabazz Organics if you want delicious mangoes. Check Shabazz Organics if you want delicious mangoes.
Mangoes all day sounds like a plan for me.
Oh, everybody, let me leave this mango, them let me know what you're doing to me. Sweet everybody, oh, everybody. You're sweet and you're so juicy. Hallelujah. Everybody would make you jump and step like that. It make you climb up, stick on. It's everything agriculture with Bankie and Yahsonn. Talking food security, cannabis, farming, livestock, fisheries, and everything agriculture. Every week on Real Entertainment Network. Food security, that's the priority. Plan the food locally.
Yes, and we are back, and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show. If you're just joining us, our guest this evening is Ras Iya, where we're talking about food security, cannabis, and African Liberation Day coming up. So, Ras Iya, greetings, welcome, Yahsonn.
Paternal love and greetings to the family. Blessed love for the invitation, Brother Bankie and Brother Yahsonn, and to the Everything Talk Agriculture and the topic. And I will just be thankful. Thankful for the ancient of the divine Haile Selassie the first, and I impel my CSM and to give an it's time of opportunity. We are on the groundwork still, so that's why I come in late. So my apology in this Iowa. If
And
thanks.
overs, yeah, man. So, what's going on? What's planned when it comes to African Liberation Day, and what is the meaning behind of all that? For those who don't in tune when it comes to these things, because most times in our environment we don't want to hear the word Africa, because a lot of us they don't identify. They'll say, "Me not from these places. Me a Kitty Shoulder, me a Navy Jones. Me not born in Africa." So, where the celebration comes from?
Very thankful for the question line, what the position of why we indicate in the celebration for African liberation. And I would like to state basically the indication of African liberation is a layout of family where we can unite coming out of the yoke of the colonial powers that was embraced against Africa, knowing from since in the 18th centuries and the 17th centuries, and along that time, Africa being banished within itself from these colonial invaders. And we just like to state for prior time in that 19th century now, we see that our African ancestors they were able to march the fight to be out of that colonial era of enslavement as we've seen it prioritized in the time of that moment. So within African liberation, they would like to say from 1958, Kwame Nkrumah was elect Prime Minister of Ghana when Ghana get independence in 1956 after December. And Kwame Nkrumah called a gathering in Accra, Ghana, 1958, and there was 8 African leaders were among in that meeting, and that was the turning stand that raised the awareness to what we are established now to call African Liberation Day, that was established in 1963 in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, 25th of May. So we call it Freedom Day within that moment, and 32 heads of state in Africa was present in signing the charter on the 25th of May within a 4 days delegation within meeting in Africa, Ethiopia, and Addis Ababa, the African Hall. And to find these things now is relevant at 63 years today. We must able to realize the pioneers of that moment in 1963 was setting the charter to where we are now, to see how we can mold and build a togetherness in one Africa, and how we can stable, not laying near colonialism and colonialism immersed within the African territory that we are seeing still approaching on African territory. So that is why we are seeing the initiative to raise the awareness for African liberation Day to the priority to the first and foremost for our generation to come. So that is why we are saying we have to be in the itinerary to call ourselves Africa. Born right in iron. That's why we should be proud to be an African from wherever we stand in this Western Hemisphere, in Africa itself. So, thanks.
Well, it was enlightening to hear you speak about Kwame Nkrumah. When earlier we had on Professor James Small, who was also a part of the same December 12 movement of the same group that Kwame Nkrumah came out of, the same with Malcolm X and all this. So you see how small the world is and stuff like that. And we have one over here, Ras Iya, who's also part of that, came out of that same movement also, and still continue pushing the works. So and in the same way. So what are some of the activities that is coming up, Cardinal? Also up here, I know the One Love Liberty Farm going to be having something over there on Saturday. So what is in plan when for and in the Iron of City that the Nayabingi Tiago Other have going to be going on?
Give thanks, Brother Bankie and Yahsonn, and to outline the general public who are on social media within the feed that you all are carrying out. We just like to state that from the Nayabingi Other, we are seeing it very important to awareness. So we have activities commencing from the 24th of May to the 30th of May. within our activities have a theme that insists on the 63rd anniversary that comments towards behold how good and pleasant it is for virgin and Christian to dwell together in unity. And it's a very important format that we see just recently from the resolution that was outlined in the United Nations General Assembly about a month and couple strong ago. They are able to see that was our past entirely about the transatlantic slave trade that was gravest crime against our African inheritance in humanity. So we realize so Africa as we are, we see this notion to always be the agitator for raising that code of respecting our African identity, the heritage, and the history of Africa. So the 24th, we have our activities commencing on where we go and visit our websites of our Big Virgin and Christian of the Rastafari community. And we go from 9 a.m. in the rising, where we will do from the Sandy Point area, venture into Challengers and reach up into the Bastille area. And then from Bastille area, we go over to Kayan to pay our homage to our brother, Ibu, who our virgin took a few years ago just gone. We had a nice instrumental send off for our virgin. And we just like to say to all those who were able to be in the moment of Rastafari, whether you're a big guy or not a big, we must pay homage to your great sacrifice that you made during the time of the physical life. Once you know the name that people have not been in Rastafari community, we must be able to respect the level of their great sacrifice and the attribution to Rastafari and the way of life. So that is why we must be able to remember those, even though they're gone in the transition of the next dimension to the great beyond the ancestral and divine creator to join in another dimension. So and I see that as it's Sunday, and then that same Sunday we have Naya Bingi Foundation ISIS at the Ari Life Farm in San. That's our activity. And we have Foundation ISIS, we chant Naya Bingi herbs, and we blaze the fire to champ and paralyze evil forces that we bring in the eve and the signing of the chart at the 25th of May. So we are connecting with the Rastafari community to have that high liberation of the congregation ISIS at Ivy Life Farm, and start at sunset, where we light the fire, big judgment fire, alongside with the lighting of the sanctification fire. The judgment fire is nothing can add to that judgment fire but love. None can be cooked by that fire, only just burn but the heart of evil forces and the creating system that is perpetrated against I and I as a Rastafarian and African. So this is why we outline that to reminisce in our ancestors from 1960 to what we are Diamond Jubilee in 63 years. The Monday the 25th, that is a holiday. That itself is the day itself is 63 years that the charter was signed in Addis Ababa. And I will reach over on the shores of Nevis to celebrate with the One Love family and the Rastafari community over in Nevis to be part of that celebration to mark 63 years of African Liberation Day, Freedom Day. And it will be at Natural Liberty in Newcastle, at where I and the One Love family over there. So we are very active to come and get that support from that in the collaboration of the Rastafari community. Now, and that timing start will be from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then we have another gathering on Tuesday where the Naya Bingi Tiakasiada in collaboration with Higher Heights will go and do a care package within 10 people of the elderly and need to give island-wide. Where and I will go to give these people a care package, and we have these care package, foods and other utilities that within restroom and within the pattern of our people for toothpaste and everything. That is a part of our development to give people who do not have the economic of that in ocean to support what can be a part of the gesture from I and I as a token of, as they say, charity big at home. So we must able to look out for our elderly and we cannot afford so economic that they require in their domain. So that is from the Tuesday the 26th, and it will start from 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And then the Wednesday the 27th, and I have care package in St. 10 recipients with elderly and age. And we do that there in the gesture to give back to the community down in St. And that will start from 1 p.m. We will have the Thursday, the 28th, and I are doing a presentation where we have for both Sinkis and Nevis in the primary school area we're looking at, because we're looking to really utilize sixth form, the high school to utilize that presentation in signing of charter and by the initiative of 1963 was very important to establish the Organization of African Unity, which is now called the AU, African Union. So, and I have now seen this time we start seeing this information being very positive to the younger generation so they can have assurance and awareness of where and why African liberation is very important as African ascendant and people have seen the struggle of ancestors for a time, the colonial era. So these are the factors that to attribution of presentation at St. Thomas Primary School, Nevis. And if we don't get you on that part, we have another gesture that will require I and I to do a presentation in Nevis, still in that same capacity. It might not be Thursday, but it could be Friday. But on the same Thursday, we think it's, and I will see we have a presentation made in the same charter signed in 1963 in St. Kitts at the Bontewell Primary School, and that is just outside of the Bastia area on the west side, where it is located, boys and west farm location. So we'll do that part of that presentation, and we have presenter in Ras Iya and the presenter over in for the Suti Baiwan will be presented on the behalf of child signing 1962 student of the primary school level. So that will be an initiative from the 8:30 a.m. and they gather from in the school assembly, and then we can able to have the presentation at this to the children about. If we even get a class, we'll be thankful, but it must be important that we value this information to our youths them and don't have them be scared of the story of what Africa is and what Africa have united as well. And here we have the Friday, now the attribution again, the big Yahsonn alongside another application of higher heights. The I will preschool this time now in the Navy shores on the class, but very preschool, but I think that is an all-age school to it in corporation of primary school level. So we will use the preschool part and make a donation of coloring books of African centered, alongside giving them a treat of ice cream from Queen Ice Cream, who will able to give I and I those ice cream. Or she have a link with her son over there in Nevis, so we'll have that arranged for the children, the children them or the preschoolers them in that school within, and teachers who teaches preschoolers be able to get that sheet alongside from I and I alongside with collaboration of higher heights, and then I and I think it's will do the movements at the preschool in called Little Learners Academy, and we have the children them we get with the books, them coloring books alongside the sheet of ice cream for that same setting of that same Friday. So, and I have used it this year along that area to teach to the younger ones, and as I say, give them they're starting to learn about their heritage and African ethnicity that can bring them to awareness but not carry any racism. We are not here to practice racism. We are here to bring awareness to where we stand and where we are going as an African family, and not destroy no human being and no race, or stand where you are as a human being. And respect must be drawn to you in this human family, because we're still seeing a lot of discredit to our black people, especially when you look at the American team, our people being shot by police, and the kind of movements that we see now alerted towards young youths in this capacity, facing a lot dying from guns that are rapid in the street and in the community where I and I people reside. Not in the high stake, in the community that our people reside. So you see how targeting and exploitation are still rampant at I and I as African people. And then we have the Saturday, the Solidarity Rally that we come at Independence Square from 2 p.m. in the afternoon to 8 p.m. in the night. And we have speeches and making by the political party representative them. And we have ones from others who will be selected to make speeches. And we have a feature speaker by the name of Elsie Harry, who will be our feature speaker. And then I will have dancing and poetry. Dancing will be presented by Okolo Tegoman dancers, and the poetry will have different people coming between mix of female and male, alongside with singing within from Sankofa Maccabee and family of the House of Yehuda, alongside the Ras Youngers and Dead Jedi, and others who will come and be a part of the celebration for the Solidarity Rally. So that is the impaction that we are moving on within celebrating the 63 years of African liberation from the 24th of May to the 30th of May, to highlight and sensitize to our people liberation.
Oh yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. That's a whole itinerary of stuff going on. It's like a whole carnival of activities, and I mean, it's still the schools included and stuff. But with all that is said, how would we look at all these to see where we at as an African island, more or less 99% dominant African people, but yet our leaders and everything, look at everything, the system itself is who's living us in these times, and who is, so how will that message be passed within, because we are the one to be blamed now. You see what I mean? We governing ourselves. How will them in between this when it comes to putting in the message?
I would like to say this here, Bankie, is very important where you say it and how, but when it comes to the delivery message. And the essence is that the revolution will be postponed by rain. But when we look at the notion of what we're finding out, a lot of the people have now gravitate within the farmer to feel like all is well. It's not all is not well. Because if you could look at it in the 1960s, when the yoke of Africa was striving for independence, let me take a typical example. In the Congo itself, where Patrice Lumumba was able to stand up and state into the face of the Belgian representative and said, Congo does not lead, no support from Belgium to guide Congo in their own affairs. The Congolese, them should be the one directing their own affairs. And unless we don't go to that notion, we still have affairs here in Kingston is not directed by the percentage of the people who are only black as African ascendant. Even though we see the leaders who are standing in our same capacity as African descent, they're not the verge of rising the African awareness. It is in the verge of rising the European and the American awareness, because that is the captivation they want to assure the people. They're looking in our own capacity, in our territory. In 1983, Yahsonn, you can be a testimony to this because you're more older than me and Bankie, you're older than I. But in 1983, I was just 5 years old, and my bishop was able to lead them out against the colonial conquest to Grenada. And because of his mission that he was staging to raise the Grenadian people them out of that yoke of colonial, what do you think they did? They used his own people to do something that will destroy his vision and his ability to raise the awareness of his people from out of the colonial So we still have these kind of people around I and I this kind of moment. So we have to be vigilant and we have to be stand firm in our quest to have the common goal for African unity. And if we don't have that vision, our label will already discode by what European I quest always coming and dominating and putting our initial towards watching us feel like we need them. We don't need them. They need us.
Okay.
We don't need them.
Okay.
We could respect a bit of tolerance.
But look at what is going on as we're speaking about coming up in the celebration. As we realized earlier, these are the reality, you know, where our prime minister came out and said, well, he will be taking some deportees, but he's not dealing with Haiti. And then now America is trying to show them they can't deal with Cuba going through a situation, and all, and so it's just showing, as you mentioned, is about a system which is controlled and ensure our people. But at the same time, Barbados have an embassy there, and they're not taking the non-CARICOM people, as which is, I guess, people from different areas, whether it's from Somalia, wherever it is. But you're not taking no Haitian. And then the Bahamas is right next to America, but the Bahamas is not taking these people. So how come America still have the consulate in Barbados and they not take none, and nothing is the pressure is put on them? So it shows that something is wrong something don't make no sense. You see what I mean? So something don't make no sense, and that thing is not discussed with our people. It's like they come out and say things, and this thing is show that yes, we have said we are free, but at the same time our leaders are making poor decisions, and the people are not being asked if they're okay with this thing, and then all leaders say, oh well, if you don't want to lose your visa, you don't want this and you don't want that. But the countries them that is right upon America, they're not getting this pressure and not saying none of these things. That's just the reality.
Well, Bankie,
So if America impose on you, you can impose on them too, because if they want to come, you pour visa upon them too. That's it. That's all it is. If they want, because they want to trade. That's just how it is. If you're going to lead with balls, you know, and if you don't have the balls, you can't want to be a leader and just sign up on everything. If you want to say you're sovereign state, so the reality is you're just submitting. So
Bankie,
how you going to pass over this information? Yeah. Go ahead, Yahsonn.
That is part of the problem that we have, and that is part of the conundrum that we find ourselves in as a people. As I listen to Ras Iya highlighting, you know, the struggles of African history, African stories from 63 years ago, I couldn't help but questioning, but at the same time still answering, why African liberation is spearheaded by Rastafari community, and why it is not necessarily something that is even set up, just like how Rastafari was the one who had to force them to recognize Buckley's uprising as a day that they should acknowledge. African liberation, they should be the same. Should be a day that is recognized, just like our independence or our whatever. So if you want to give it a holiday and all. But I'm making this point to say that this is the conundrum that we find ourselves in, because even though you ask the question, Bankie, about we being one people and we shouldn't be fighting against each other, the reality is we came out of one legacy and one story. But then you have a set of people who have opted to maintain the system that was designed to oppress us. And that is where we have the difficulty. These people who come out of the same struggle that we came out of, but have consciously decided to maintain a system that was designed to oppress us. And so they continue to plea allegiance to the same people who oppress us. They continue to have a governor general who represents those who oppress us. And so they find us who are seeking to speak about the African consciousness and and rebelling their system a problem to them, because we now become a threat to their system, because they can only be in control if we the masses allow their system to continue to perpetuate and for them to continue to play the games. Because, like, for example, we talk about democracy. Capleton say, and Peter Tosh is demon crazy, right? But in reality, are we really functioning from a democratic state when really and truly? So it's like a game being played. They tell you democracy, but then they function as if it is a dictatorship. Because yeah, the democracy come to the point where you get the opportunity to vote, so to speak, for who you want to elect. But then when you elect them, they function as if they're your bosses and they don't have to account to you. They don't have to tell you anything. Instead, they're just going in the house and pass some bill. But wherever they're going to pass, they don't have no conversation with you, who they're supposed to be passing the bill for the bill to affect. And then when they don't go and do that, then disrespect you by doing that, by not even coming and have a conversation with you. When you now seek to push back based on what they seek to sign on your behalf, what you didn't agree on, and when you do find out about it, if you do get to find out about it, you decide to push back, then you are deemed as if, so you have that fight, and that is where the difficulty comes in. So I wanted to ask the question, Aya, and that's why I say I kind of ask the question and have the answer. I mean, why is it that we don't have these guys up front? You all have to invite them to come and speak. Are they supposed to be spearheading this thing? Are them supposed to be? And I mean, I want to take this opportunity as well too, while I'm here on the platform, to encourage those of you in the communities who have things that you could afford. Reach out to the Rastafari community. You could reach out to Ras Iya in St. Kitts and reach out to Ras Iya in Nevis, right, for the One Love and the organization of Rastafari Unity, and donate whatever you can so they can add to the gift baskets that they're planning to give out to the people. Because sometimes the contributions that these brothers are being making are ignored over the years, the contributions. I must give thanks to the federal government in the sense of acknowledging, I think it is this year, acknowledging the Buckley's uprising as a national holiday. And it was only because of the efforts of Rastafari over the years. They are the ones who have been spearheading that event and bringing the consciousness to the people. So maybe we need to more so use this Al-Kabul and African Liberation Day to highlight more of these things and seek to really demand more. Well, can we demand more from a people who really system set up not really for us? So I mean, so these are the kind of things that we really have to put into perspective as we rationalize it. But you can give your view, Aya, and in relation to what you think. I mean, we don't have that level of involvement, and what do you think we can do to seek to get the masses more, to encourage even those who they elect them to come on board and support more these kind of initiatives that the Rastafari community is seeking to put forward?
Well, I would just like to add what you just outlined there, Brother Yahsonn, and to state here, I, for one, know nothing from my expertise of done in everything of what I have gathered to here today to speak up. It's in the being theocracy and being searching for your on that aspect as you outlined Rastafari. But Africa is not just about Rastafari. Africa is about all the ethnicity that people of African ascendant could hold within their notion of the living.
Hold one second. Okay, and that is one of the reasons why I am making the point, because I want people to recognize that it is not just a Rastafari thing, even though Rastafari has been the one spearheading. Why are we not getting the involvement from the other aspects of the community to be more involved and be on board? I encourage people to support the Rastafari because right now they are the ones who are doing it. So, I mean, if you could get some more things to put in the basket, and you could even now not just do 10 people, but you could do 20 people, at least the community would be supporting in that way as well. However, I'm saying that we should have them more. Actually, they should have been sponsoring all of these events here, because it is a part of what we should be doing as a people, not just Rastafari. So, continue. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, but I will add where you just let out last, because we do get the support of the Office of the Prime Minister generally every time that it comes to the activities I will quote on that. But as I said, more involvement should just not impact by the Rastafari alone. I generally calling for a national front when it comes to African liberation, not no Rasta holding the notion to African liberation. Let us have a national front. National front meaning in both Sinkis and Nevis. We cannot discount on I and I people where I and I are wrong within. And that's why we have always every year from since I seen the time now where we gather, we have to have this environment hoping towards African liberation that we have an impact on both in Sinkis and Nevis. And I will always keep this notion that we must raise it not from just our Rasta view, because Rasta is this torment of raising that standard, but it must arise from people, whether you're Rasta or not, or is not Rasta. We are Africans. That is the level that we must hold up to stand within, guiding for the principle and the integrity of African unity. Because it's too much now. We have been stagnant. We're thankful for what we're seeing in the Sahel state, where Niger, Mali, and the Burkina Faso have gone the strength together to cope in defending the territorial ground and not having no European outlining what they shall be doing to raise their standard on it. We have to come out of that youth, and we're still in it. We are not moved away from that youth unto this day. That is why we're still seeing the early 70s. We know the pioneers like Lai Harmony and Juni Libert and others who was in that forefront, raising the awareness for African liberation in 1973. That's 10 years after the establishment of the Organization of African Unity. Sinkis and Nevis take the initiative to go and raise that awareness to the people. But what we see now today, we are seeing is Rastafari have moved onto that level in carrying on the torch. And we have to respect the pioneers them. It's not as the Rastafari function, is an African liberation function. So we are requesting that family of African ascendant, you have a right to gather and listen whatever the notion. Whether you're like a singer, you can come out and listen to the singer who will be performed. You're like a poetry that will be created by someone who will be there. You can come out and partake in that. And let us into another, because we need to learn from one another and guide the forward stand for the future generation, so they can able to know how to build on that format what they have able to receive. And that is where we should be able to gather these things.
In this aspect, when it comes to liberation, where does the sovereignty when it comes to protecting the land and food security comes in? Because we thought these two things we're not liberated enough. We have been controlled.
That's true.
So where's the emphasis when it comes to protecting our land, when you can look around and see large acres of land, both in St. Kitts and Nevis, keep disappearing for large tourism development, and not, well, right now St. Kitts pushing a project, but it's all about hot pepper and export and sell going to food. And as you see here in Nevis, we're destroying 40 acres of food. Where is the seriousness when it comes to food? Because I, for one, is not convinced by work within the system and going up here and seeing what is going forward for me. I'm not convinced. I would
like to add with the eye to Bankie, because prior to what the eye just outlined, it's very discarding to see we're still landless, we're still foodless. Right. We're depending on something that is not required for us to have better food in our nutrition balance. Yes. And we are required to have these things here removed from the table, because as I stated to the Federal Minister of Agriculture, you cannot cut a food bill, import bill, to 25% when the 175% thing I know your head. What kind of requirement are you standing on? You cannot raise your people to standard of betterment, because the 175 that is hanging over your head, that can be a danger to your people more than 25% that you say you are involved and creating back something to your economy. You cannot. And we know that. But what we're seeing is that these people are going into meetings, going into a drive of saying they'll try to bring something to help the economic work. The economy only could go when you sustain your own development, not somebody developing you. It's an embarrassment to see how people coming in and developing. If we develop Europe for all them years when others in enslavement of our ancestors, why can't we develop ourselves? And we feed them for all the entity that they were carrying out in us as enslavement. We plant the food, the food them come, we produce them, we carry onto different areas, and make all kind of things out of these produce, and make wealth and develop what they want for their own. So why can't we, who have give them that initiative to go, we can't see that there for everyone? Why should we be dependent? We say that are not waiting for our people, and that's a problem.
You know, part of the reason why is that we're in 2026, and well, Nevis kind of have a unique situation to some extent, but St. Kitts and many of the other Caribbean countries have a large majority of what is still considered today crown lands. So I tell you, it's a part of the mentality of our people and the mentality of some of those people who come from among us to seek to continue to maintain a system that was designed to oppress us. They sit on the system. They claim. I mean, I've heard some say not even a comma change in the constitution that was handed to them. A lot of these guys who are in this position are top legal minds. If they really want these things to change, they can change. But the status quo benefits them. So the argument is, if the bottle is not broken, why try to fix it? And so they continue to bleed through a system that they know is designed to keep us in that. So 2026, we got crown lands. They would look to, as you say, sell it out, sell it to some investor, bring in some investor, when Bankie would have given some solutions and have not just given in terms of words, but have demonstrated by that 40-acre orchard that they had at Indian Castle, by setting it up pristine and demonstrate that it can be done amidst all of the critiques. Oh, nothing could go over Indian Castle. See, Blast don't do all of this and all of that, and wait. All kind of technical people say that it can't happen. But Bankie make it happen. And not just with 5 acres, not just with 3 acres, not just with 10 acres, with about 40 acres. And has the ability right now to do another 40, another 100, another 200, another 300 acres. Do they want these things to happen? These are the questions you got to ask, because the reality is sitting in front of you. You understand? So, but when you talk these things, these are the kind of discussions that we need to have and bring to the fore, and just bring it to the fore. You understand? I mean, I'm going to somebody comment. Yeah, go ahead.
Go to the comments, and then when we come back and we touch cannabis, how that come across when it comes to African Liberation Day, what role the cannabis play when it comes to diversity in the economy. So let me touch the comments. Go to the comments, then when we come back.
Okay, so we start from Burlby Jones saying a light moment. Those guys that were racing at the Indian Castle in the government vehicle. Well, it was not the government vehicle. They rented some vehicle.
Yeah, government vehicle. The vehicle when you going to, Yahsonn. The one the truck was a rented vehicle, but the vehicle that the guy was stapling on the government jeep.
Okay, so that was clarified. Will they be at the drag race? Were they practicing? Okay, he started by saying it's a light moment. The plants that died, were there any chance of germination of seeds that may have fell from the trees or from any of the fruits? We don't know about that, but many of these young fruits would have dropped off the tree, not even reached the stage of maturity, because as Bankie was highlighting that if the trees are not getting water, most plants, they would drop their fruits and they would do anything to survive, get into survival mode. So whatever fruits they have on, they would drop it off, leaves and everything and all. and just try to maintain the root system so that they could survive through whatever stress they're going through at the time. As Bankie pointed out, trees are very smart, very intelligent. We think we're intelligent. We are so intelligent that we are the only species that pay to live on the planet. Think about that. As we continue with the comments.
Everything is free, you know?
Everything is free. The birds don't got to buy nothing. The cattle ain't got to buy nothing. The sheep, the dog, the goat. All of them living on the planet. They don't pay for the electricity. They don't pay for the internet. They don't pay for the water. They don't pay for no conditioned air. They don't pay for nothing. But we are the most intelligent, we say. Eh? Okay. Get back to the comments. So what is the real reason, Evan Nisbet is asking, what is the real reason why the Indian Castle orchard is being ignored and left abandoned? Is it that the agriculture budget is not enough to sustain the orchard? That's a question. Bobby Jones, why is Spencer Brand talking about Indian Castle? Is he the agriculture minister? Did he apologize yet for his misstatements? And I guess it's in relation to when he encouraged Naya to take him on a trip down to Indian Castle because he was defending the fact that things were being harvested from Indian Castle. So I'm just trying to put that into context as you know the comments are coming in. Evan Nisbet says it was impressive. Bobby Jones says, was there any custard apple, English plum, or locust there at Indian Castle? Miss Ashbo says, all talk about the situation at the farm, at the racetrack, Bankie and okay, she can't me by my government name, but anyway, so I guess it's somebody who know me. What is your proposed solution? I would want to ask Miss Ashbo to expound a little bit on your question because I don't know exactly which aspect or area you would want.
But I guess fixing back, getting it back. Well, I guess if the place are dead, what your solution is? What does that mean? What does it mean? Get back up to par. What does it mean? What can they mean, Yahsonn?
No,
if we're saying that the place is a mess, what would the solution gonna be?
The reason why I'm asking for her to give a little bit more clarity, because I don't really understand exactly, because here's what I'm saying. The solution is sitting right in front of us. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know, because you would have done it.
Wait.
You would have set it up.
Wait there.
No, wait there.
Well, if me give you something, if me give your house brand new with all furniture inside there, you're gonna dirty them up and you're gonna want me come back and fix them back and you're gonna dirty them up again, mash them up again. No. When who they have all these degrees, me understand.
You have that choice, that choice you have. But what I'm pointing out is that you could fix it because you did it already.
Not interested. I'm not interested.
If not fixing it, you could set up other plots similar. Then this is the point I'm making. The point I'm making is.
Well, I'm doing it, Yahsonn. I'm doing it on my farm. I got to farm. Wait.
Yes,
so they could visit my farm. So that's the whole point.
So you're getting closer to my point, Bankie. That's why I'm saying I'm asking the person to be a little bit more clear, because for me, from my vantage point, the solution is in front of us. Anyway, the rest comments. Moods of Life says, blessed evening, all ones. Bobby Jones says, it's the same offspring of those Belgians we are bringing to Nevis with that Destiny project. Some food for thought. Okay, Miss Ashburn making that reading of that comment there. Bobby Jones, should the Buckley's uprising have...
we mean how we supposed to comment?
Because she's trying to,
what?
Belittle my guest and co-host, and I'm not going to allow that. So I know.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, you don't want me gonna allow you to come and try to, bring them kind of thought they hear. Right? Anyway, if you're gonna come at least you make a positive comment.
But when sometimes somebody like somebody they'll be the kind of the kind of way you're playing smart and of course she loves to see us Iya man. She loves to see us Iya man. She like us Iya, Iya celebrity,
When we used to go to school, the girl like you, so used to want to fight with you, and got anything to say about you. Anyway,
a late moment,
Yeah, Bobby Jones says, should the Buckley's uprising have gotten a holiday that's coming up next year in front of the African Liberation Day, though? The game you mentioned, Yahsonn. So I guess you're saying, technically he's asking, should the Buckleys uprising should have gotten an holiday even before African Liberation Day, because basically African Liberation Day is just as significant and even more, I wouldn't say more significant. In the Buckley's operation is very significant, specific to St. Kitts, but African liberation is more general to all the African territories and the diaspora.
Well, the Buckley's uprising is specific to a lot of the Caribbean islands, because after that is to something to a train of event going on through the other region. Yes.
Because it started in St. Kitts and Nevis. So that's why I say it is more specific in that sense. And I guess I could understand the acknowledgement of it. And yes, the other couple of comments, straight up, in short order, the land situation in Nevis will deplete just like on St. Kitts. If the lands continue to sell out behind the scenes, it's very bleak. Ali Jeffers says there is a Caribbean week of agriculture in Jamaica. They are still talking about 25 by 25 plus 5. Bulby Jones says, are there any stats for rainfall on Nevis? Is the east side where the Indian Castle have a different rainfall amount than on the west side?
There's a rain gauge on the Indian Castle estate also. There's a rain gauge there, right? And as you're going to the gate, there's a rain gauge there where data is being collected. So the information is there. And yes.
Okay, over on the Facebook wall, Ras Original Lyrics says, blessed evening to the Rastafari panel. And Vicky Walker says, good evening. And we want to say thanks to all of you who are, commenting on the Facebook wall. Without you, we don't have a show. We want as much as possible include you and your comments and so on. Also, the number to call in if you wish to be a part of the program, you can call 1-869-662-7196. That's 1-869-662-7196. We got about maybe another 20-25 minutes with you guys because we started a little bit late. And so we want to include you as much as possible and your comments. We're going to now shift gears a little bit. It's still African liberation. And part of the liberation is the cannabis liberation. And we're still struggling with that as a Rastafari people and as a people general in St. Kitts and Nevis. And shouldn't. And part of the reason, again, why we are having this difficulty comes back to the same people who we elect, because they're the ones who put the laws in place and make and maintain those same laws. And they're the ones who have been over the years, because of the same beliefs and perceptions of those who find that plan offensive. They have sought to continue to maintain, even though the Constitution has given us some rights clearly, and even if they were not fully aware of it, the Sankofa Maccabee case with Judge Ventos would have highlighted those facts. Even though those facts have been highlighted, we still have these same people who have been elected to represent us finding themselves in positions where they are totally disrespecting us. And I can't put it any other way but to say that they are totally disrespecting us. From my vantage point, this is why I am saying this. One, Sankofa did not take the commissioner of police. Well, he was only the commissioner of police, but there were others who were on the defense, the CEO, the CMO, the chief medical officer. They were part of the defense. And you would have had the attorney general who represented the government as a part of the defendant. So yes, the government was taken to court. I would want to put it that way as well. And all of the arguments that they presented, Judge Ventos made it clear to them that none of the drug act, none of the international narcotic acts and so on that they sign on to can supersede the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis. And even though Judge Ventos would have put his and all the arguments right now, Iya, that the Prime Minister is making about public safety and all of these things, if anybody is supposed to take the time to go back to Sankofa's case, all of those arguments were brought to Judge Ventos. And Judge Ventos, after listening to all of them, tell them, look, you all ain't convinced me with these arguments to infringe upon the claimant, who happens to be Sankofa at the time, constitutional rights. So here is it that our constitutional rights has been infringed, and those who are supposed to set up the law because they were told to go back and amend the Drug Act, amend it so you don't infringe upon Rastafari rights and individual freedom of conscience rights. And all I know why I'm saying that they have not done anything higher is because the government opted to run with a medical cannabis business that Sankofa didn't take them to court for. They run with that because they wanted to make money. They see how they could have taxed it and make some money off of the licenses and so. But Sankofa didn't take them to court for that. The area that Sankofa took them to court for, they put under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs, which happens to be the ministry that Honorable Jeffrey Hanley is the minister for. And we have never heard anything from Honorable Jeffrey Hanley in terms of cannabis. And then we have the same or similar scenario in Nevis, where agriculture is concerned now. We have never heard from the Minister of Agriculture with cannabis, but to say when you call in, look at it, coincidentally we're talking to you, when you call in on Van Radio and ask him about it, he tell you that they are waiting on the federal government to make some moves. And we are not blind. We have seen that the federal government has made a lot of moves, but no move making Nevis yet. So if you're telling me you're waiting on the federal, and then let's put another argument in that mix again. The Prime Minister, in an effort to defend his, if you want to call it, lapse, might not be the best word, but he's taking his time to go through with the Destiny project. That was presented to him. He would have taken the time also to highlight the fact that in terms of the federal government and the Nevis Island government, the Nevis Island government have autonomy to do a lot of things. The only thing his government is responsible for is national security, which is the police and the defense force and all that, customs and all of them people there and so, and health and education. So in terms of agriculture, he don't have to wait on the federal government to tell him anything with agriculture. And in terms of any other thing to do with cannabis, we don't have to wait on the federal government for that. But these are things that they have been saying to play tricks on the people and to negate their responsibility because it is on their portfolio. So Honorable Jeffrey Hanley is not taking care of his portfolio because cannabis is a part of his portfolio. And Honorable Eric Evelyn, in terms of Nevis, is not taking care of his portfolio. So the people who are offended by them not taking their responsibility, like us, because we're speaking out, because what they are doing is affecting us as a people. Bankie should not have been locked up. Jama should not have been locked up. If they were doing their job in terms of addressing the things that they should have addressed, even the licenses that they're supposed to get, even though it is stated that Rasta may have a license, but they were not ready and still ain't ready up to this point to really give people a license. Because even though they're saying that they're still trying to put some kind of red herring in, they say, oh, you need to get land and no paper for land and all of these things. When they know some people squatting, they know these things. So, according to what the judge told them, they were supposed to, anytime you're going to do anything to infringe the Constitution or affect the Constitution, you have to use what they call in legal terms. Now, take me time to study these things, you know. What they call the least restrictive means. So whatever you're going to do to try to infringe upon my constitutional right as a Rastafari to grow as much trees as I want, and for nationals who are 18 and older to smoke and grow cannabis in the yard, it must be the least restrictive means because I don't have the constitutional right there. If you want to try to find a way to reduce it because of whatever things you think, it has to be least restrictive. And that is not being demonstrated in the actions that they are taking. And their neglect to do their responsibility is who causing people to get locked up. So we got to hold them accountable. We have to hold them accountable. And that's what we're doing. So
Yahsonn,
I know you
Yahsonn, let me come in here and your quotes them you just lay out generally. because from the same time of the judgment that I had in 2019, and I can start from my guidance of my expertise going forward, and I will say that without any fear of favor. The judge and I went and rally on the aspect for the sample for within that same argument. Is I was the one able to show out some support to the sample within having him source through the institution that was laid out in 1983 as the guideline for I&I people protection and rights. Now, when we look at some things here, well, the judgment I've received from the judge statement, I realize when the farm administration were looking to relate their position in what they're going to go forward, they bring up some attraction towards applying misuse and abuse abatement drug act. Imagine if the judge tell you, go and change that policy that you have. It's not a lie, a policy. It is a policy against the rights of what the people have to value in their custom. Because the institution say we have a custom to use our things as a value. Now, when these things you realize that I see that same former attorney general, me I get along with, and I always put him on this spot and let him know you have done a wrong entail towards the justice of the people. Not just Rastafari, justice of the people. When you and making that kind of argument to disturb from the value of the people, because you want to say, you outline it only, that's public safety. What public safety are you going on? That's the question we need to relate on. Who are you putting the public safety really out there for? When it comes to in our community and in our nation development. Because for all the years, we know how being valued to cheat things in our community and our nation. And doctor, the scientific them was very adamant of not respecting it. But they know the value, they know the notion that it could work on, but they show basically that they want to keep the herb out of the movement because of what Bob Dole and all them do follow family went and asked Congress to put a legislation, that's why I say it's not a law, a legislation policy to create a way of disposing people from using herb as a treatment, from using herb as a sacrament, from using herb as all kind of format the herb can evaluate within its cultural format towards economic, social, and spiritual advancement. Where these people now turning that they want it to look like they're running the ways to create an economic, when the herb has done that economic movement going along. So where they're pushing in that value. But we must, as a people, must able to enhance education more wider than what they are putting out. Because I, for one, am not going to register to use herb in my home. I'm not going to register to have herb on the area of my land planted. For what value should I do that when I have the right to use that as my custom? Not just for me, individual, the whole citizens of wherever they stand have that right. But we must be able to challenge these things of these legislation that create evaluation of our rights. And that is why we see some of the things that are calling right now from him on, but I am part of the licensing authority, is distasteful. And it is very disregarding to what the people face. Who should be arrested by this time when it comes to herb? Nobody should be arrested. That's why I was able to ask, and I tell Bankie this person, I was able to state when I was going into parliament in the farm administration with that same act. We should go and protest. Man said they're not going to protest because they know they're going to protest against our farm. Ras Iya is not educated in that book sense because I can't read it, but educated in the value of my street sense of who we are as a people. We have that right to protest. You protest a night. You can use the placard and put what you need to write on your placard and send that right. So that shit out in 2019. go down by government part to stand out there with the placard just displaying what the function towards that act what they're going into parliament with. It will send a clear message to them, man.
But can it
It will
still,
send a clear message.
But can
It
this
still
still be
can
done?
occur because
Of
it still
course.
can occur because the initiative is that what the judge stated in that judgment. He said, if I and I do not feel satisfied, meaning even though he making it known to Sankofa, we referring
Yes.
it generally to the public.
Of course.
You see? So if someone go on this side of the judgment and read it from the detail of what the judge outlined, as Yahsonn said, all the argument they present, because I was present on that first national committee was chaired by the same CMO, and I had to tell her in a meeting, you should have never got to that courthouse to talk about your stand up and the notion
Okay,
for government. Yes,
while you were talking, right? Because I'm telling you that, especially since this thing happened with Bankie and Jama, and not just Bankie and Jama, but a lot of the cases that we're having recently, young fellows in Nevis getting charged $18,000 and $15,000 and all of these things for planting a couple trees, and the number of trees we're hearing about is like very limited and nowhere close to justify them kind of money they and so on, right? I would have taken the time to look for that court case from Sankofa, and it is on one me file on the computer all the time. So I sometimes from time to time, as we sometimes have these discussions and so on, I would go back to the case. And as we were here talking, and I made some examples, and I told you that, for example, a lot of the arguments that the Prime Minister and the AG is making today in terms of safety and public safety and safety of the youths and all of these things, all of this was argued in front of Judge Ventos. And I'm going to just give you and the listening public an example by using a little snippet from the case itself, just to give one example of what I am saying. And for those of you, you can go to look for the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court and type in Ras Iya Maccabee versus the Commissioner of Police. And then the Commissioner of Police would have been Ian Quealy at the time. Okay. So I'm not going to the full case, but this is from number 60 in the case, and it speaks to something that was discussed a little bit earlier on in the report, the judgment from the case. It says, as mentioned above, in order to show the sections 6.2 and 7.1 of the Drug Act are reasonably required in the interest of public safety, public order, public health, the defendants, and when we speak of the defendants would have been Ian Quealy, the CMO, Ms. Laws, and the Attorney General then, Mr. Byron. The defendants have sought to rely on A, obligations arising out of the international drug conventions, B, the deleterious effects of cannabis on users, and C, the alleged linkages between cannabis and crime. The medical evidence from both the CARICOM cannabis report and the Sinkits and Nevis cannabis report show that where am I? I clicked on something here. Okay, so yeah, shows that children, adolescents, and adult persons with pre-existing conditions are most vulnerable to the harmful effects of cannabis use. Read these reports, there is clear evidence that there are indeed such adverse health effects, particularly on young persons. The reasons advanced by the defendants, for example, the harmful effects that cannabis may have on children, may justify a prohibition on cannabis use in relation to children and young persons. However, the existence of some harmful effects of cannabis use on a limited number of persons in society does not justify a total ban or a blanket prohibition on use, possession, and cultivation of cannabis in relation to all adults. These reasons do not justify the complete prohibition on the use, possession, and cultivation of cannabis by adults, contrary to the right of freedom of conscience guaranteed to the claimant, happens to be Sankofa at the time, but still any citizen in St. Kitts and Nevis, under Constitution Section 3 and 11, sorry, claimant under the Section 3 and 11 of the Constitution. It is accepted that the state has a legitimate interest in preventing harm to others, but the evidence adduced by the defendants does not show that a total prohibition is necessary to achieve the aims which the defendants claim that the Drug Act attempt to achieve. Consequently, the defendants have not established that section 11.5 applies to justify a limitation on the fundamental rights and freedoms enjoyed by the claimant. And I'm just reading that section to highlight to you, Aya, that what I am saying, me ain't trying to make up these things when me say these things. The same thing that I just read out there are arguments that are presented presently by the present Prime Minister and the present AG. And so sometimes it makes me wonder if they did not read the Sankofa case themselves. Because if they would have read the Sankofa case, then the things that I am saying now, I wouldn't have to say. And the arguments that I'm presenting, I wouldn't have to present because they are there in the case. So unless they're really trying to deceive the people who they think would not read the case and would just listen to them because, well, we are leaders and we are the educated ones, and so whatever we say, is it that they're trying to work on the people? Well, I am not going to allow that. If I can help it, I would continue to encourage people to look for these things themselves and recognize that if you are not seen it before, these cases are making me to see that our people who are supposed to be representing us are part of our destruction. Because like I'm saying, if the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley was doing his work in terms of what he should do for spiritual use of cannabis and for the freedom of conscience, and making sure that those things were in place for the citizens who took them to court for that, Bankie wouldn't get locked up, Jama wouldn't get locked up, and a lot of the other people who get locked up and trees being pulled up and all of these things would not have been happening.
Let me get some of the comments, Yahsonn. And if any comments, comment.
CG Walwyn says, as a group, Rastafarian brothers and their family and all herb users should demand legislation to remove such penalties and lift the weight. And this is coming from a top cop, once the Commissioner of Police and St. Kitts, Nevis. Modern hybridized strains, Babylon, somebody is asking. Well, in a lot of cases, they would have done some sort of, things to it to do whatever it is that they want to do. And the modification of the seed process and so on. There is natural hybridation, because if you have two plants going together that is of similar strain and so on, it is just natural that if a bee or a bird or whatever it is cross the pollen or wind, it can be pollinated and you could get a different hybrid. So that is possible naturally. But there is still the story of the actual genetically modifying the seeds to do certain things. Whereas some plants you might modify it. For example, let's use pepper for example. You may have a genetically modified pepper that when you grow the seed, you get pepper. But when you try to grow back seeds that may become in those pepper, you might not get back the same pepper that you grow, or you might get a pepper tree that this time when the pepper comes, you might not get no seed at all. And so you have to go back to whoever sell you the seed. And that's a different kind of genetical modification that we try to stay away from versus the natural hybridation. Donna says, enjoying the show this evening, addressing several important topics. Love learning all of the upcoming African liberation events for everyone to enjoy and learn, especially those for our future generations. And yes,
yes, I big up Donna.
That is why, Banky, I am saying, and Aya, sometimes it is a way, because see right now is a Rastafari panel, as Rap Lyrics would have mentioned, and it's a Rastafari panel here defending African liberation and bringing it to the for the people and bringing it to the consciousness of the people. I mean, we want to continue to do this, and yes, I encourage the Rastafari to continue, but we also want others on board, not just Rastafari, because it's not just a Rastafari thing. So we are using this platform as well to encourage those of you in society, whether you're Afro-conscious minded, you don't necessarily have to be a Rastafari, but we all a part of the struggle. I mean, and we all have to make our contribution in some way, shape, or form. So it's not too late. You can come on over to Natural Liberty there in the castle opposite the pottery and be a part of the gathering and eye liberations and over in St. Kitts. And you can keep up to date with Ras Iya. I guess from time to time, Ras Iya, if you all have a flyer or something with the itinerary of the events and so on, you can share it and we can post it on the platform. I think that Rastafari and a whole sometimes still need to really step up and get to the plate when it comes to technology to some extent. I mean, yeah, we burn a
They
fire
have
now.
flyer. They have flyer out, man. They have
No,
flyer.
hold on. We ain't talking about just for this
I
event.
have a flyer.
The flyer for the Nevis event. I'm talking about the other things like the food hamper giving out and all of this. So I'm saying the other events and so on, if they have a flyer and so
But
they
on the event, all that is on the flyer.
okay. But I'm saying though, I know in some cases they're burn fire upon technology and so you know what I mean.
No
So
man, the man ain't born for them man up to date, man. The man ain't like a that. Like a that,
where
Yahsonn. The man ain't like a that.
we use social media to the advantage. We got
Yeah,
a
but
platform.
the man up to par, man.
Make use
The man
of
up to
it.
par. The man up to
Create your
par.
own Facebook or
No,
your
the
own
man
Twitter,
safe, man.
all of these things and so.
Yahsonn.
All right.
The man up to par.
Yahsonn, let me say this. When we look at some of the things, but the only time when we just come into Rastafari, put a lot of fire and a lot of people die outside. But time to time we go, I love me alone in this moment, We have, as we talk here, in more than one number of the carry right now, this general farmer that we live with. We have more than one number, and each of the number of them have a data plan with it. Because we have a lot of things now we start open up to. There is ways that I'll be in Zoom meeting, not just here in a regional, I have international Zoom meeting that I've had. So I generally taking the asset because it's nice to talk about advancing to technology. You see, it was so part of it. We still have to be mindful how we captivate within youth of technology. We have these things there, and boy, many people like to see as bank just supply. We have flyers, but we just share them on to social media platform. I itself we do not have a Facebook page, so we are looking to creating a Facebook page for the Naya Big Jackson. But what we don't do is do things and share with our brothers and sisters who have WhatsApp, so wherever they forward to others, it will reach to this deployment of other social media people. Because right now, at the I state, we have to get you see, and some of us won't get, but those who get in, utilize it and share the value for our educational advancement, because the educational tool too. If we use it in the pattern that to rise our people, we ancestors did it, why can't we adapt to that? Technology is coming in here from centuries ago. We should never be afraid of technology. We should never.
Yes, sir.
Aya, it's always a pleasure having you on the platform and having this discussion and this level of discussion on the platform as well. People love the change and the diversity that we really bring to the media. And tonight is no different in the sense that like we usually, and we said it when you were not on the platform yet, but we told them, even though you're our guest, we consider you more of a co-host, along with us, because you don't be here so often, you know what I mean? Like you just like another co-host. But it's good still that we were able to address a number of issues. I love the way that you were able to highlight the information in relation to African liberation, be able to expound on the activities that the Rastafari community is involved in and has been involved in over the years, because it's years now. I remember even when I was teaching at CSS and so on, when y'all used to come and deliver books and speak to the youths and so on. And so it's years now y'all have been making the contribution, and it is just sad sometimes, and that's why I'm really appealing for other people to come on board, because of the fact that they use the same cannabis. And see, these things fit into the conversation. I know a lot of people might have thought, well, when they look at the flyer for this evening, that our conversation would have been fully cannabis, but we were able to talk food security and still also tie it into the cannabis scenario, and this is part of that struggle that we have to deal with. So enough respect, Iya, Bankie, and those who have opted.
Let me get in the last comments that is there before, and then we wrap up.
Well,
any last comments
I have
there?
not seen any
Okay.
new
All right.
comments. Aya, we as a people have to really stand up. The point I was making, I think I know I lost track, is the same cannabis they use to fight Rastafari and criminalize Rastafari and make society look down on Rastafari because they criminalize us using cannabis. And it is because of that same cannabis why, even though we have been doing all these good things in society, I mean, the market in Sandy Point have been shut down for a number of years. Who take it up and reopen it? Rastafari. You understand? Buckley's uprising, as we talk about. For all of these years, we reach to the point now we get a holiday. We're going to experience it for the first next year. But who was spearheading that? The same Rastafari who they tried to criminalize. Who has been, I don't hear of much organizations apart from sometimes politicians and so go on and give these food hampers and so on and look out for the aged and elderly and so on and maybe social services and so on. But Rastafari has been doing this over the years with the little means, with the fact that the system fight them, now give them no work, now give them no job, calling criminal, hunt them down for cannabis, but they still survive, still able to still make the contribution, and amidst all the fight, still come back and say, look, Africa, we say, let's celebrate African liberation, let's celebrate Buckley's uprising, let's do all of these things without the support of the same people who are fighting them. So I'm just saying, and I'm just taking this rostrum and this platform to encourage society.
If you have to kill set of the Rastafarian people within the society, and the contribution in taxes and so forth will surpass way more many others. If you check it out, the skill set that is there, and intellectual in every aspect of it. We go to the same school. When people look at, you cannot look at people virgin, because we go to the same school system, sit side and side with everybody. We just change our way to see life. We're the same people of the same society. So it'll be arrogant for people to look at people a certain way. The prime minister, Mother Ena Rasta are the same thing. So it shows what people are saying don't make no sense. You understand? We are doctors, we are dentists, we are engineers, we are electricians, we are builders, we are farmers. We hold the highest esteem throughout society. That's it don't need no deliberation and no conversation about it. The evidence is there. Architects everywhere. That's it. That's just the reality. Wherever you put it, we're there and leading.
But the reality is still, Bankie. You say we don't need edification, but the reality is Rasta still being persecuted in 2026.
It's not going to change neither. You're going to change? You expect it to change? Well, listen, you're going to change?
If you feel like you're not going to change, then that means you better we give up the revolution and you better we give up the fight then.
Because you're not going to change, because it's a mindful of people, virgin. If you think you'll just change overnight, it don't work so.
One hour we're going to help you change that mindset there. If me one then, as Chronic say, if me one going to work, well, I'm me one going to do it.
Virgin.
One man do it, Selassie do it, Marley do it, Malcolm X do it, Martin Luther King do it.
But we still
what we must do is always indicate the experience.
contribution to society that even today, if people were to listen to Brother Garvey in 2026, a lot more useful to take up the opinions of Marcus Garvey and go and read that. Let's say we just take a challenge and tell them, go read that. Every youth who in the Federation right now, find a copy of the opinions and philosophies and opinion of Marcus Garvey. Go read that. And in 16 years from now, you want to tell me we're not going to see a difference? If that is,
No.
if they put that as a part of the curriculum?
I said no.
Anyway, people, these are the kind of reasoning that is needed to be a part of the change. And I want to be a part of the change that I want to see. That is why we're going to continue having engagements like this. We're going to invite from time to time people like Ras Iya and others. And, you know, Bankie, I love the pushback that you give me because you strengthen me even more. I would have been reasoning with management, the other technical team, because I am very much looking forward to do a program on this platform that is just dedicated to Rastafari and African consciousness. So I think Bankie, you know, right now is pushing me to say, boy, I really need to set a time and a date for us to have that platform. And so we could have people like Iya and other Rastafari and other Afro-conscious people, like we are already bringing to the platform, but I saw that's just dedicated, sorry, as we would say Rastafari, dedicated to Rastafari consciousness. What you got, the civilization and Bankie want to show me he got the books them, you know. But yeah, man, and this is part of what we do, and we love this. Iya, I see you behind and you're laughing, but this is how we do it.
I have to laugh because it's only like you think this thing will change overnight. I must laugh. You act like you know what's going on, you know? You act like you know what's going on.
We could disagree and disagree publicly and here, but at the end of the day tomorrow, me and Bankie gonna reason. We not gonna take up no gun against one another, we not gonna shoot one another, we not gonna stab up one another,
So
we not gonna fight one another.
So everything me say, you're supposed to agree. Everything you say, me agree. Somebody tell lie then. Okay, everything me have to agree, you obviously have to agree. Somebody tell lie somewhere.
We want people to realize that this is what we want. That and if the elected officials and so could function like this, we would have a much better society where you could disagree, but agree to disagree and come back again. Maybe if you need to go and do your research and come back and hit Bankie next week or some other point and say, hey, remember we not talk about that? Okay, well, bam, 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 bam. And the conversation continues. So
all right, before you go, right? No, let me piece here. I need to add in a piece here. Because you like we're talking about systems and systems. Come remember, I get visitors every minute. You understand? On the farm. Well, I got a visitors from a preacher to this week. And the preacher going through vibes. Because he don't go through school, he don't go through this and wherever. But he's not getting a promotion. You know, he's not getting a promotion? Because he don't want to join up with the Freemason systems. And I don't want him. I don't want him, you know. So now you come back and complain. That's why you complain if we don't have the discussion. I don't tell you this is going to happen. Because the church come out of Freemason system. You hear me, Professor Small was here talking about the same Freemason systems. But we're in a denial, don't think. At the church, you come out, you know. This is the reality. We spoke of these are how and these. When there's a thing going to be happening in St. Kitts about prostate, and weight is skipping by the lodge, the Mason Lodge in Newton, wherever our pants pass, wherever it's at. You understand? And them a sponsor it. You understand? So that I'll make to say about that. So, to each his own. So me tell you, this is a reality, you know. Oh, this is so you talk about system. So me don't know where you ball to me now for. When me don't want him, me say how you do. What you do? Keep the monthly payment. I'll leave the church because you're not getting a promotion, you know. So you have to submit. Where you gonna you submit? Are you gonna leave the church because that's all you have to do. Because they're not gonna raise the pressure that will keep out for you.
With that said,
Bankie, as you outline there, the outline there, my meditation had that thoughts in a different format because from some of the things that we face earlier, I will state here generally because at times I went on a major program and I make some indication about the Freemason and then the host of that program told I personally that when the program done, one of the members of the base call and say, how you could get the post bombarding us like that, man? I thought you could defend man. So just to state here
It's a
generally,
joke.
may I learn these things here, and I have to give thanks to Elder Zambo. He has been very, very instrumental in my upcoming in Rastafari. Not to say he guided me in all, but I would say very instrumental from the Holy Step when I get onto the Naya Big Gathering. And to others like Yahsonn and Yahsonn, right? We have been sharing these things here as a part of getting the better step of how we can avoid it. And I will glad to tell generally people who are listening at this time of Iowa, the Mason as part of small outline have been able to revive from the African sentiments, the movements that they call mystic system. And when we see how some of these things have been declared within their positive brotherhood in this kind of time, these people are going to start from the way of our spiritual element that we are from the Mason. See, and that's why when we outlining, I don't tell people shit up that we have to destroy the mix from this point on because it's them that creating what is happening in the world today. The damage and the effect when our people like are trying to destroy one another to the build up. So this is not the way the divine require. The divine require tolerance, harmony, and respect to create to a betterment in the nature of life. That's what nature laws are required from that set go. But mankind, as they are alone like go them free. Every other thing with the only mankind with that and this specification as human being. Where all these things have been implied to our night as a people. So we give thanks to being here on the program. I would like to state Africa for African, those at home and those abroad. We must put that in the power farm with the struggle I continue and the liberation is trying here because Babylon kingdom will have to fall. So as the item outline, the position that we're facing as people and as Rastafari towards the hub, we cannot have this kind of movements in this 20th century, having people be started and the value of what hub can be used in its fullest form, holistically. Either use herbs stick as my toothbrush. You know toothpaste to clean with teeth. Use ganja stick, herb stick, bite it up and like be a crash and then just rub that there teeth from come and teeth. And then my tongue. And then when you clove and my breath freshener. So me have to use these things and I are natural within our own part where we once we get it in our anciency. But the small said that these things as you outlined in the presentation to the program, not like I put in. But our agency is very important for us to tap in to get the initiative to what we have to arise our awareness. Because it's time to get up with this whole racist system. Is not nowhere going forward for people now. Politics can't save things and news that because the whole of it go up over the years to politics and religion. Them things can't give an idea of answer. Only thing can give an idea is thyself. And we will see where we went forward. United, stand, divided, fall. Thankful for the invite, for being here
Yes,
to
sir.
able to highlight the activities of African Liberation Day and speak on the essence of food safety within agriculture. And it's good to hear that one of the comments coming from the car, one of the people about talking of agriculture in Jamaica and to see the position. We had a whole West Indian Whole Federation in the 1960s. If that had stand, Kairouam could never be where he be today. If that whole federation has stand up to what was set up, we'd have never been in this kind of position because what the initiative was to do, one for all, arm for one, feed ourselves, develop what we can abide in our development. But through of what we see, CIA and all the agencies that are cooperated to distract our development because they want us to be dependent, not having our own economical standard of who we are. We build these old criminal empires. What can we build our own establishment as a nation to do for the younger generation to come and future generation to come after?
Yes, sir.
These are the core and the standards that we cannot let these kingdoms. Even these development, these cooks yesterday, they lay investors. Is a turn of colonialism coming, come away. Even Eric William was Trinidad, first prime minister, Trinidad to make a first prime minister. Well,
We have to get you back, I know. Because you're not going to stop talking tonight. We have to get you back.
Turn along. So we thankful. You see,
you have to get you back. You're not going to end in.
Remember when we start, me say, we know in the college, but the street is what teach I know, what I know.
We ancestors, them build all these there's monuments around here and stuff like that. So this thing about college,
yeah.
Go ahead, yes.
But if we build the colleges, them too, so we have the right thing, we have the youth, them guide there, and open up the colleges to rise up the standard of people. We give thanks, as I say. So, blessed love to the family, and blessed love to the program that able to sensitize and bring against where we shall be going forward and be aware to the cries of the Africans that have put our people in the backboners that should never happen.
Yes, right. And that just demonstrates the wide topics and discussions that Rastafari can engage in, and the fact that, as Bankie would have highlighted just a second ago as well, that we are the ones who built all of these things. Sometimes our contributions are not necessarily highlighted, as most of the time, even in the narrative that is being put forward here in terms of our stories, it is from a Eurocentric point of view. So a lot of things we need to change along that line, and I guess it's the celebration of African Liberation Day and such activities should be, given more attention so that we could have more of that end result. And we have really gone a bit over time. I want to thank all of you who have stayed and stuck with us through all this. And definitely, it shows that we need to have more of these kind of topics. So, Ras Iya, we're definitely going to have you back at some other point, and we could, choose some other topics that we could expound on, that the society can also benefit from our engagements and discussion. Ras Bankie, give thanks for the opportunity again to be on Everything Agriculture. Ira and the Reese and Alan and the rest of the Real Entertainment Network. Enough respect for the commitment. I want to just thank all of you and everybody who are logged on. Before you leave, please go over to our YouTube platform. Everybody who is on, by the time I'm ending this program, we should at least see another 100 views. So subscribe, click on the notification bell, and you'll be informed every time we have another program. So if you love this program and you want to be informed when the next program is coming, go and subscribe to the channel. Bankie?
Yes, before we go, let me just say thanks to all those who tune in and share their comments and continue to support Real Entertainment Network and all the shows that they have. Quality time with Alan, the topics, and Everything Agriculture show. Also, thanks all those who come out and support on an everyday basis. Shabazz Organics at Mansa's Last Stop. Remember, on Fridays, you get your cook up. Saturday, tomorrow, you get your carmeal and fish, oxtail and carmeal, chicken and carmeal, rice and oxtail, rice and fish, your pies, your salad, your coconut water, your marby, your mangoes, your Emmy Pally. We have teeny mangoes, seedy mango, regular Pally, grafted mangoes, kidney mangoes, lot of star fruits, ripe banana, green banana, plantain. So just come out if you want a nice atmosphere to chill, relax. If you want to go 30 seconds across from the beach, come back over and have that natural farm feel. Take a dip, you get a hose, wash off the water. Is the farm feel Navy's life? That's what it's all about. You have 4 acres to play around. You don't want to be in the front. You got the back, chill under a tree, in a hammock or whatever, and just enjoy the farm and be inspired. And that's what Shabazz Organics at Lancers Last Week's all about. So coming out tomorrow, just it's a long weekend, a lot of activities. Be safe on the road. A lot of rentals I see on the road to eliminate the accidents and the over drinking. Because and these type, or what we're promoting is a lot of alcohol drinking. So the mind frame of people. So it's all about safety first. So have a designated driver if you're not going to be out partying and drinking and so forth. And A lot of bikes will be around, a lot of driving speed, and cars. It's racing, it's a lot of music and entertainment and so forth. So it's a holiday weekend on the Monday. But I'll be on the farm tomorrow. I got some cucumber to plant out and do my work on the farm as usual. Every day, farming don't have no half days, So again, thanks for everyone to choosing Real Entertainment Network. And remember, next week Tuesday we'll have on the premiere where we continue discussion, and then next week Friday we have on Ras Iya where we continue the discussion when it comes to food security and cannabis. Go ahead, Yahsonn.
As you finish, I just want to make this last comment, the last comment for the show. Tony Johnson, who's seemingly a new listener, Tony Johnson 12C, says, I enjoy your
big up,
discussion
Tony.
on all of the topics. One love, positive vibrations, Tony. I think it's a wonderful
Yeah, man,
way.
big up,
Carl
Tony.
says, give thanks, your show and beloved guest, Ras Iya. So those are the two last comments.
Love,
With that,
love.
everybody. See you guys next week, Monday, when we have quality time with Alan.
Agriculture never stops. Agriculture never stops. From the mountains to the sea. Farming bring prosperity. Food security. That's the priority. Plant the food locally. Feed the whole community. Everything agriculture. Building for the future. Bankie and Yahsonn every week now. Ren bring the real solution. It's everything agriculture with Bankie and Yahsonn. Catch us live every week on Real Entertainment Network. Watch on Facebook and YouTube, Ren TV. Everything agriculture, where food security is everybody business. It's everything agriculture with Bankie and Yahsonn. Talking food security, cannabis, farming, livestock, fisheries, and everything agriculture. Every week on Real Entertainment Network. Food security.